It's time for the next Q&A. Thank you so much to all of our awesome viewers, subscribers, fans, members, Super Chat heroes for helping get the GeauxBurns Nation over 8,000 subscribers, as well as over 2 million lifetime views. I could not have done that without each and every one of you. So, as with tradition, every time we reach a new milestone, by like last time it was 7,000 subscribers back in May. This time, 8,000 subscribers. Anyways, so I gave you guys an opportunity to submit your question regarding almost anything, gaming, personal advice, etc. via Discord, YouTube community tab, Twitter, Facebook. We had a deadline, but it was a short deadline, only like 24 hours, but a lot of you submitted questions, and I really do appreciate that. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the questions, shall we? We have no time to waste. So we're going to start on YouTube, and General P. Garvey, Commonwealth Minuteman, a.k.a. GAT Max. Why did you change your name? I don't know. People change their names. But he decided to post it in the comments section. But okay, I'll let it slide, JT Max. I'll let it slide. My question is a boring one, but nonetheless a question. How were you introduced to Bethesda Games? How did you like the first one you played? Well, admittedly, I was not a long-time Fallout or Elder Scrolls fan. I was, however, turned on to Skyrim by friends of mine at the time that were playing Skyrim, and they were already Elder Scrolls fans. And they were just going on and on about this game. And I saw the TV commercials, and I thought they looked cool and epic and awesome. And I finally caved, and I bought Skyrim on Xbox 360. And several hours of my life was lost in Skyrim. Actually, probably hundreds of hours of my life. And that's on the 360. And most recently, I've gone back to playing on the Xbox One. So that's how I was introduced to Bethesda Games. Thanks for the question, JT Max. That's what I know you as, and that's what I'm going to refer you as. Moving over to the community tab, we had a lot of congratulations, so thanks to everybody that congratulated me. And we did get 2 questions. First off from Trenton, I have a question, GB. Do you think that we'll see some things in Red Dead Redemption 2 that connect to Red Dead Redemption? By the way, it's your birthday. It was his birthday on Monday, by the way. And he had a very good birthday, because that was when the second gameplay trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. So hopefully, Trenton, you had a very good birthday. And yes, I believe that there's going to be a lot of connections to Red Dead Redemption. For one thing, I believe that we're going to have the full map of Red Dead Redemption in Red Dead Redemption 2. West Elizabeth, New Austin, along with Nuevo Paraíso. John Marston, who's the protagonist of Red Dead Redemption. He's one of the characters in Red Dead Redemption 2, along with Abigail, Bill Williamson, Javier, and Dutch Vanderlyn. So, obviously, yes, definitely getting some connections. Probably a lot of connections between Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. Next, we go to Elazar Rosario. Is the new Rockstar image hitting Mexico? Yeah, okay, so I think we basically just covered that a moment ago. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that Nuevo Paraíso, and maybe even another Mexican state as well. Maybe we'll get 2 Mexican states, Nuevo Paraíso, and maybe the one to the east of it, perhaps, because there's a blank spot right there that would make perfect sense for them to add additional Mexican state too. We have 5 American states, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to give us way more than we even know right now. So as far as we know, we have 5 American states: New Austin, West Elizabeth, Grizzlies, New Hanover, Lemoyne, Nuevo Paraíso, and like I said, maybe even a second Mexican state as well. Then again, possibly not. But I think it's safe to say that we're getting Mexico in Red Dead Redemption 2. All right, let us move on over to Twitter. Also, thanks to everybody on Twitter for congratulating me, including Azulin and Brian. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate that. First question comes from Paradise Gamer. Congrats on the 8,000 subs again, GB. You deserve it. My question is for you. What has kept you motivated when you first started out? Well, obviously, my love of gaming goes all the way back when I was a kid. My grandfather on the Intellivision, then my dad getting my stepsister and me an NES, so I've been a gamer ever since I was a kid. That's one thing that's kept me going, the fact that I love making content. Goes all the way back to my radio years, and then whenever I had a political channel on YouTube, I still do. I just haven't posted anything on there in a while. And I also helped my dad with his channel whenever he was still alive. So obviously my love of making content combined with gaming is definitely what helps motivates me to continue making content. But most of all, I would say it's all of my awesome viewers, subscribers, fans, friends that I've made, as well as the members, Super Chat Heroes, that support this channel and support me. You're the ones that really give me the motivation to keep going. So, big reason why I keep going is because I still love gaming, I still love making content, and yes, because you guys keep me going. So, thank you so much to all of you that do what you do. Doesn't matter if you never give me $1, a dime, or a pound, or whatever. As long as you're there supporting the GeauxBurns Nation, liking the videos, subscribing, letting me know in the comments section, showing me love on Twitter, Facebook, and Discord. You know, that's positive reinforcement. Believe me, content creators definitely need that. And I am no exception because sometimes I can be my worst critic. Next, we go to Kevin Boston. I have a question, GB. Do you think that there'll be slavery in Red Dead Redemption 2? Let's see. Okay, so anyways, history lesson, Kevin Boston. Slavery in America ended at the end of the Civil War in 1865 thanks to the 13th Amendment. Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place basically 30 years later. There'll be some remnants of the Civil War. There was obviously still inequality, the way African Americans were treated, and the way that Native Americans and Chinese Americans and Irish Americans were treated. Unfortunately, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, even up to present day to a certain extent. Not as bad as it used to be, but there was definitely inequality. Slavery was no longer a thing in America in 1899, but there was definitely this whole Jim Crow thing, segregation, quote-unquote separate but equal. So you're going to probably see some of that, maybe a lot of it in Red Dead Redemption 2, depending on how much of that Rockstar wants to put out there. We do know that at least 2 characters in Dutch Van der Linde's gang are African-American, Tilly along with Lenny. Plus, we have a Native American character in Charles Smith, who may also be of African-American descent. And then we have Javier Escuela, who is of Mexican descent. And we have several Irish members of the gang. So you're probably going to see a lot of hate towards certain members of the Van der Linde gang. And that's one thing about the Van der Linde gang I like. I don't like the criminal aspect, obviously, but I do like the idea behind it, how they have this melting pot of people from different backgrounds and different lives coming together, you know, part of this family that we're going to be part of in Red Dead Redemption 2. And I look forward to being part of that family. And it's going to break my heart whenever it falls apart, because most of us that played Red Dead Redemption know that something goes wrong. What is the cause of that? I guess we'll find out in Red Dead Redemption 2. Now we're moving on over to Discord with Kane. What is, in your opinion, the best video game you have ever played? And what did you think about it? The story, cast of characters, missions. Okay, so the problem with this question is, as a gamer who's played video games since the 80s when I was a kid, yes, I'm dating myself, I'm old, there's a long list of games that I loved, from Zelda, Super Mario, various Grand Theft Autos, Red Dead Redemption, the Mafia games, Lost Heaven, Mafia 2, as well as BioShock Infinite, Zelda Breath of the Wild that came out last year. I loved that game. I mean, it's just difficult for me to name one game in particular that I would consider to be the best, because there's just so many awesome games out there. So to be honest, I don't really have an answer for you except for that list I just gave you. And I do think that story is important, along with characters and gameplay. I think gameplay is very important, but you also want to have a decent story as well as an arc. But as a gamer, gameplay is at the top, and it's very possible that maybe, just maybe, Red Dead Redemption 2 might end up being my favorite game. And maybe next year something else will come out that'll be my favorite game then. And not to mention the fact that I'm a huge Batman fan, and I didn't mention the Batman Arkham games. I loved Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight was okay. Arkham Origins, I could take it or leave it. Okay, so anyways, no real answer there. Sorry, Kane, but that's very difficult. It's very difficult to have a one favorite game when there's just so many awesome games out there. It's hard to choose. I mean, if you were to give me like a top 3 or top 5, maybe I could have, given you something more solid. Next, we move on to Cormac. Would you ever want to bring back any of your old intros? No, I don't, because the old intros are crap. They were made by me because early on in the channel, I didn't have an intro, and several of my subscribers back then, I don't know if they're still around, they wanted me to have an intro. I didn't want an intro that was too long. That's one thing that annoys me about some channels. They have intros that go on forever, like 15, 20 seconds. I wanted one that went on for 3 to 5 seconds tops. And so I just created my own intros. I did have one professionally made along with the current logo and banners. But to be honest, I didn't really care for that intro. So I decided to sans the intro. And to be honest, I don't really see the point of the intro, to be honest, unless someone comes up with a really cool idea. Like, for example, an intro I like is Wreckers intro. I think that's a really good intro. There's something about it I like. It's cool looking. There's a positive vibe to it, and it's short and sweet, just like I like. But at the moment, I have no interest in bringing back any intros, especially my old ones. Talk about cheese. Next, the Electric Wolf. Did you know that the 1911 was in World War I? Yes. As a historian person, a buff, an expert in history, I am quite familiar with the fact that the 1911 pistol was in World War I. Son, what games would you like to see made in the future? Okay, so that's a difficult question because right now I'm very excited for Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm not really thinking about any other game beyond Red Dead Redemption 2. I hear rumors that Rocksteady might be working on a Superman game. I'm very interested in that. I don't know how it's going to work as a game because Superman is so OP, but I did love their Batman Arkham games, even though there were some issues I had with Arkham Knight. To be honest, I would like Bethesda to actually get off their ass and finally start making Elder Scrolls 6, which is going to be a very tall order because I see similarities between Red Dead Redemption 2 and Skyrim. And I think that Bethesda needs to pay very close attention to Red Dead Redemption 2 and try to improve upon their engine. I know they're focused on Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76 and Skyrim on this console or that console or the new Blades game or the card game. But as a Skyrim fan, I would very much like a new Elder Scrolls game. So that's one game I would like to see in the future. A Bully 2. A lot of us have been wanting a Bully 2. And eventually, somewhere down the road, Grand Theft Auto 6. Not now. I'm perfectly fine with Red Dead Redemption 2 and Cyberpunk coming out and possibly a Superman game, as well as Elder Scrolls 6 if we ever get Elder Scrolls 6. But for now, I'm quite content with Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out in just a few weeks from today. Beast Mode! What would you like to see in Mafia 4? So, Beast Mode, I have made videos regarding what I would like to see in a prequel or sequel to Mafia 3, and you can find that in the Discuss section, but real briefly, I will say that what I would like is for Mafia 4 to be set in the 70s, because you have the first Mafia game in the 30s, you have Mafia 2 set in 1945 and 1951. You have Mafia 3, which I'm about to start live streaming again tomorrow, starting tomorrow on my Xbox One X to mark the 2-year anniversary of Mafia 3 coming out. So you have Mafia 3, it came out in 1968. Well, the setting of Mafia 3 is 1968. The setting for Mafia 4, I would like it to be in the 70s, either in a version of Atlantic City or a version of Vegas, and hopefully they will bring Vito Scaletta back for Mafia 4. Maybe he'll be the guy that's in charge in Vegas, or the one that they put in charge, they being the commission, or Atlantic City, either or. But that's roughly where I would like Mafia 4 to go, if we ever get a Mafia 4. Exobrad, what are you looking forward to in Red Dead Redemption 2? Everything. Like I mentioned a moment ago, I mean, I'm looking forward to spending time with the Vanderlyn gang, to being part of that family, to hanging out with John Marston, a younger John Marston, and getting to know all these characters. You know, the ones that we already know about, Javier, Bill Williamson, Dutch, especially Dutch. I've always liked Dutch. I look forward to learning more about Dutch, as well as the newer characters that we've learned about over the past few weeks. And the freedom of that game, the beauty, how that world looks so alive and awesome. The fact that, you know, you can just explore and just wander off, the bond you're going to build with your horse, how real it's going to feel. There's just so much about Red Dead Redemption 2 that I am very much looking forward to. And I think that most people feel the same way. Takeagen Jr., what do you hope for Grand Theft Auto 6 if there is one? Well, I think with the success of Grand Theft Auto 5, thanks in large part to Grand Theft Auto Online, we will most likely see a Grand Theft Auto 6 unless Rockstar goes under. For the record, I hope that never happens. I hope Red Dead Redemption 2 is successful. I hope they make a Bully 2, as I mentioned a moment ago, and I also hope for a Grand Theft Auto 6. And I've also mentioned this before in a previous discussed video revolved around Grand Theft Auto 6. I want Grand Theft Auto to go back to Vice City. Maybe not to the quote-unquote 80s, but a present-day version of Vice City. It makes sense because Roman numerals for 6 is VI, which is the first two letters in Vice for Vice City. Now, obviously, it can't just be Vice City, so I'm imagining it being like a fictional version of, say, South Florida with swamps, beaches, other towns, as well as Key West, some of the islands down there, maybe even the Caribbean itself, like Cuba, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, the list goes on and on. So that's what I got in my head for a Grand Theft Auto 6 game, and I would love an older Tommy Vercetti voiced once again by Ray Liotta. Maybe he plays the Godfather down in Vice City. Maybe he's someone you work for. Maybe he's like a father figure to you, or maybe this is a perfect opportunity for Rockstar to introduce a female protagonist. I've mentioned this before, but that would make sense that if you're going to play a female protagonist in a Grand Theft Auto game, it might as well be connected to a popular character from a previous GTA. For example, Tommy Vercetti, voiced by Ray Liotta. That would work perfectly. Maybe something happens to, Tommy Vercetti, and, his daughter, Tanya Vercetti, has to go avenge him. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, hopefully we will eventually get a Grand Theft Auto 6, and I'm sure when we do, it's going to be awesome. But it probably won't be till, like, somewhere in the 2020s, so hopefully we'll still be around by then. Peanuts! If you had only one game in the world to play, which game will it be? This is very similar to Kane's question, and I don't like it at all. I don't like having to pick one. I don't have one favorite, and I can't be asked to pick one game, because even if I dive into a game, which is what I do when it comes to open world games, that's why I don't buy so many games, because I can spend hours and hours and hours in Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto 5. But eventually, I'm going to get tired of playing that game. Eventually, I'm going to want to play something else. Just like with Zelda Breath of the Wild last year. I wish I could have streamed it, but we know how Nintendo is when it comes to that sort of thing. But what you guys don't realize is I put tons of hours into playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. I absolutely loved getting lost in that game. But eventually, I want to move on to something else. So it's very difficult for me to pick one game in the world to play. Sorry for not answering your question, Peanut, the way you were hoping. Just like I'm sorry to Kane, but it is what it is. Moving on down to Riley. If Red Dead Online is boring, example like boring grinds and bad server issues at launch, hopefully not, and Red Dead Online becomes stale for not receiving constant updates, what will you upload or even do of your channel? Well, I'll just wad it up and light it on fire and throw it in the garbage can and walk away. Just kidding. Hopefully not, right? For one thing, I think we can have the same, like I mentioned in the discuss video for Red Dead Online I did for Red Dead Online Expectations. Hope you guys check that video out, by the way. Gives you a basic premise of my thoughts regarding Red Dead Online, but I'll really quick go over it. I think that we can expect pretty much the same thing at launch with Red Dead Online as with Grand Theft Auto Online. There was obviously issues day one for Grand Theft Auto Online, which we discussed a few days ago in the 5th anniversary discussed live stream, FYI. So I'm expecting us to have a lot of stuff to do day one for Red Dead Online, and I don't envision myself getting bored with it. And there's a very real possibility that coming in December, we'll probably get another Grand Theft Auto DLC. So I think Rockstar is going to do a good job balancing things, going back and forth between Red Dead Online and Grand Theft Auto Online. Worst case scenario, if I get bored of Red Dead Online, I may just go back into Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm sure I'll find something to do in that game if I haven't done it already. So I'm sure that even between October 26th and somewhere in November, whenever Red Dead Online launches, I'll miss out on a few things more or less, even if I am live streaming Red Dead Redemption 2 every single day, which I don't have a problem with. But I'm sure I'll figure something out, Riley. Hopefully, right? Red 5 Motors. Of all the videos you've made along your YouTube career, which one do you feel most proud of? What is with these questions, guys? Asking me to pick one. You're asking me to pick between, let's see, 2,000 plus babies, right? That I've made. Well, excluding the political channel. We won't count those. But the videos I've made on this channel, what am I most proud of all these? Well, I don't know, to be honest. Like I said, I mean, because the earlier stuff, the quality wasn't as good. I did my best back then, but I feel like I've come a long ways in the quality of my content. I feel like it's better. I feel like my thumbnails have gotten better. I feel like my delivery and editing has gotten better. Not perfect, not the best on YouTube, but it's better than what it used to be over 4 years ago. But if you want another plug for something, I am proud of the stuff I do on the Vlogs channel, even though it's not monetized, even though it's a side project, and I only post a vlog every 2 or 3 weeks. I really am truly proud of it because I feel like that I'm opening myself even more with the vlogs than I do during live streams. And I do to a bit in live streams, but I enjoy the fact that I've built up this nice library of vlogs over various subjects, and I've gotten some positive feedback over the past 2 years from a lot of you. And I hope that it's been helpful. I hope it's been inspiring. I hope that some of it's been informative or at the very least entertaining and funny. So I'm very proud of the work I've done for the Vlogs channel. Even if it never becomes anything big, even if eventually I run out of ideas for the Vlogs channel, I feel like it's a personal legacy that I've been building over the past 2 years. But over here on the gaming channel, I'm happy with a lot of the stuff I make. The new stuff, okay, I admit that that's just part of the channel, and I do that because, you know, a lot of people come to the channel because of the new stuff regarding Red Dead Redemption 2 or Grand Theft Auto Online. I do it because it's expected. Plus, when I was in radio, I was involved a little bit in news radio. Mostly I was in rock radio, but I did do some news radio stuff as well. So it's old hat for me to do it. It's not a big deal. It's something that's pretty easy for me to do more or less once I edit it all down and all the... I've truly yet to reach that peak, at least I hope I haven't reached that peak of making a YouTube video that I'm quote-unquote most proud of. Maybe one day I'll make that video that I really enjoyed making, that gets a lot of views. Sometimes I just get lucky, you know, and a video goes viral. A lot of times it doesn't, but I'm appreciative of what views I do get, whether it's a few hundred views or 1,000, 2,000 views. Either way, glad that you guys take the time to watch my content. Moving on to Sedan, what film, TV show, book, or game do you wish more people had read, watched, played, be it for changing the world reasons or if you had more people to talk about with? Seeing as everyone took the good Red Dead Redemption 2 questions already. Well, as some of you know, I'm a big South Park fan, and I wish I had more people to talk about South Park with. I am a huge Better Call Saul Breaking Bad fan. I do watch the DC shows on CW. I watch those because I feel like I've invested so much time into those shows. Same thing with Walking Dead, more or less. I love Doctor Who. I think we have the new series is starting this weekend. And the new season of Walking Dead. Hopefully both will be worth watching, right? And the new DC shows seasons are starting as well this month. It's going to be a busy month. You know, new shows and Red Dead Redemption 2, plus I'm streaming Mafia 3. Then after Mafia 3, Red Dead Redemption. Then after Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Redemption 2. Don't even know if I have time to watch these silly shows, to be honest, but c'est la vie. Epics, do you think that Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be Game of the Year contender with games like God of War and Marvel Spider-Man? Yeah, I think it'll be Game of the Year contender. I'm not going to say it's going to win Game of the Year, because I think that's a little presumptuous since it hasn't even come out yet, but I think it's going to be up there. It's going to be tough competition between, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, and Spider-Man, and even Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I hear good things about Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and there's probably a few other games out there as well that came out in 2018 that are pretty good. So yeah, it's going to be very competitive when it comes to whichever game ends up being crowned Game of the Year. And either way, I think that Red Dead Redemption 2 will definitely be in the running. Let's see, Carlene, any fall TV shows you're going to watch? Well, I just mentioned a few. Like, for example, I'm watching South Park. The new season started last week. See, The Walking Dead's about to start back up. Hopefully this season will be much better than the last few seasons. I hear good things about the new season of Walking Dead. It's the last year for Andrew Lincoln, a.k.a. Rick Grimes. We'll see how that plays out. Kind of weird because Rick Grimes is kind of an important character in the Walking Dead series. Actually, the most important character, but whatever. And the DC shows, as I mentioned, which I kind of watch as a guilty pleasure. You know, you always hope that they end up having good arcs, and sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. Sometimes there's good stories. Sometimes there's good episodes. A lot of times, yeah, a lot of padding. And I really do feel like those shows should be cut down to maybe instead of 20 episodes, maybe like, 10 or 13 episodes, similar to the Marvel shows on Netflix. And there's a show I'm looking forward to, Season 3 of Daredevil. Hell yeah. Hopefully that will be good as well. That's coming October 19th, and the new Halloween movie's coming out on October 19th as well, and that's also my grandfather's birthday. And hopefully I'll be able to go spend that Friday with my papa for his birthday. That's my plan anyways. And finally, Tree 50. Can you lend me Tree 50?
Well, it was about that time that I noticed this Girl Scout was about 8 stories tall and was a crustacean from the Bethesda Games.
The Loch Ness Monster.
I said, damn it, monster, get off my lawn. I ain't giving you no Tree 50.
Yeah, no. So anyways, thank you so much to everybody on Discord, Twitter, and YouTube for submitting your questions for this Q&A. I really do appreciate it. I do apologize for not being able to answer some of your questions because some of you expect me to pick one out of hundreds. It's not easy. If you'd have given me like a top 3 or top 5, it may have been a little bit more reasonable there. I'm just saying. But I do appreciate you guys for taking the time to not only submit your question for Q&A, but for everyone else that watched the Q&A. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you get a chance, feel free to go check out previous Q&As that I've done over the past several years. And we will most likely do the next Q&A either when the channel reaches 9 or 10,000. I may just wait till it reaches 10,000. I think that would make sense. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Then we will have our very next Q&A.